just wanting to make money.
Talia decided that she made like at least $300 a year on her podcast alone, and I was like, that's what I need to do next. Like, I need a podcast.
How could a woman earn millions of dollars simply by not smiling, not being friendly, and not trying to be interesting? And why in just a few months did that name vanish as if it never existed? Bobbi Althoff entered the entertainment world with an unconventional style, cold stares, indifferent tone, and questions that left guests and audiences puzzled. Yet, that was the secret weapon that set the internet ablaze. She made Drake laugh, got Mark Cuban nodding, and captivated millions with conversations that seemed to go nowhere. Her podcast, The Really Good Podcasts, soared to global charts, landing her a multi-million-dollar deal with WME. In less than a year, she amassed a fortune, turning her quirky persona into a content empire. But then, it all crumbled. The podcast that once dominated the internet disappeared without warning. Million-view interviews were suddenly taken down. TikTok and Instagram, where she boasted millions of followers, were wiped clean overnight. Her website vanished and her schedule froze. Former collaborators went silent. Fans turned their backs and her career plummeted. Was this a sudden fall or a meticulously planned disappearance? Now the staged photos, scripted lines, and inflated persona must give way to the raw truth. Who was Bobbi Althoff? And why did it all end like this?
That didn't go viral. That was just a video I put up that had like barely any views.
Before becoming a sensation in the entertainment world, Bobbi Althoff was just a young mom living in suburban California with no fame, no connections, and no clear direction. She used to create content about family life, funny videos sharing stories of pregnancy and motherhood, but hardly anyone noticed. She didn't study media, didn't work in entertainment, and had no backing from anyone famous. The only thing Bobbi had was her difference. In an internet saturated with bright, cheerful, talkative faces, she chose silence, nonchalance, coldness, and detachment. Bobbi launched her first podcast, filmed simply at home with a bizarre style, sitting stone-faced, asking pointless questions, never smiling, never reacting. Everyone thought it was a joke until Drake unexpectedly appeared in episode 5. That episode went viral globally. People couldn't understand why Drake agreed to it, couldn't fathom why he laughed at her aimless questions. But that very strangeness inadvertently tapped into Gen Z's exhaustion with outdated formats. Fire tests gold, adversity tests strength, but for Bobbi Althoff, no adversity was needed. She entered the entertainment world as an enigmatic outlier. No jokes, no people-pleasing. She sat in front of the camera with a blank expression, a distant gaze, a monotone voice like a hypnotic chant, and questions that seemed utterly pointless. If you were a fish, how would you swim? Have you ever cried listening to your own music? At first, viewers were baffled, even annoyed. Is this a real interview or a parody? But then Drake laughed, Tyga hesitated but stayed, funny Marco scrambled to respond.
This is so interesting, like, it's a porcupine in here.
And the audience, they were hooked without realizing it. The more you watched, the less you understood. From a TikTok mom to a podcast with millions of views, Bobbi redefined what it means to have a strategy in a chaotic era. It doesn't matter what you have, just how you use it differently from the crowd. With a style that seemed to defy every media rule, Bobbi struck a chord with a generation fed up with tired formulas. At that precise moment, the Really Good Podcast was born, absurd, quirky, but impossible to ignore. Not by luck, not by connections. Bobbi stormed into the heart of pop culture through her sheer uniqueness. Within less than 6 months, she signed with WME, the agency representing superstars like The Rock and Ben Affleck. Million-dollar deals, invitations from big names, millions in revenue from her podcast, all because she was unlike anyone else. In a world where everyone tries to stand out, sometimes the one who stands still gets the most attention. But fame's spotlight, if not grounded, can burn the one who lit it. Ian Bobbi's difference started to feel like tactlessness. The same detached, unaccommodating interview style that once earned her praise became the reason people turned away. One viewer commented, "She doesn't interview, she just asks questions for the sake of it and waits for them to go viral." Gradually, her naivety stopped being amusing, replaced by guests' visibly annoyed reactions. "I don't know what I'm doing here. Are you seriously interviewing or just trying to throw me off?" The interview with Drake, which exploded across social media and sparked heated debates, wasn't just controversial for its content, but for its bizarre setting. They conducted it on a bed. You heard that right? No, it wasn't labeled a chat interview, and I could barely tell it was an interview at all. It makes you question your own eyes. This wasn't the kind of interview audiences were used to, nor was it a parody or a comedy show. It existed in a blurry in-between that left viewers bewildered yet propelled it to viral fame. Bobbi then dropped a shocking detail. She missed her child's birthday party to fly out for this interview. Was it all in for work or just an excuse to interview someone she deemed important enough? After her revelation, Drake's eyes widened, his brow furrowed in surprise, and the public was equally baffled and outraged. That could have happened any other day. Why on her child's first birthday?
I flew all the way here
You did. I really do appreciate
on my
that.
daughter's first birthday
You missed your daughter's first birthday for
to
this.
be here.
Dark.
Bobbi became a symbol of blindly trading family for fame. This cost her favor with brands that champion family values, tarnishing the authentic, quirky, but lovable image she had carefully built. Throughout the interview, Bobbi maintained her signature, detached, emotionless expression. She brought up the topic of finances with a gold digger-like tone, prompting an awkward chuckle from Drake, a truly cringe-worthy question. He didn't respond immediately. Instead, he leaned back, his eyes flickering slightly as if wondering, is this woman trolling me?
A significant amount.
How much?
Guess.
Could you buy me a Lamborghini right now?
The question was thrown out mid-interview on the bed without warning or a serious context, delivered in her monotone voice, unblinking. Viewers laughed awkwardly, then judged. Initially, they found her quirky charm endearing, but after the laughter faded, a mix of emotions followed. Is she actually gold-digging, or is this an act? Comments exploded online. She's married and asking for someone else's car. It was truly a genre-defying performance, the dangerous yet captivating essence of Bobbi. For a seasoned performer, it might be a calculated tactic, but for her, with no professional artistic background, it was a double-edged sword. Bobbi controlled the conversation, keeping Drake on the defensive, unsure if he was part of a scripted bit or genuinely being trolled. The interview had major repercussions, amusing today, offensive tomorrow. When Bobbi first rose to fame, her oddity was refreshing. But actions like asking for a car, sitting on a bed, and getting overly familiar with male guests led the public to question her true motives. Her naive humor morphed into an image of unprofessionalism and disrespect toward guests. Worse, she seemed to blur personal ethical boundaries, gradually eroding her credibility and personal brand. Today's audience doesn't just want entertainment. They want to know, am I laughing at a clever artist or watching someone go too far for virality? Amid the online controversy, Bobbi admitted, "We've divorced. My kids are lucky to have a father like him, and we remain friends." The reason for the divorce was irreconcilable differences. This came after the Drake interview aired, a timing that was far from mere coincidence. Her career came to a near halt as she announced the end of her podcast. Was this a public move to quell the controversy or truly the end?
Hi guys, welcome to the Really Good Podcast. All jokes aside, all honesty, this is the last episode.
This platform built her empire, gave her a place in society, and ultimately took it all away. The girl who chased immense fame admitted candidly that in her youth, it was her greatest desire. From a D-list dreamer to an A-list star, she achieved her goal, but failing to cherish it left only regret. No sugarcoating, no embellishments, Bobbi embodied the raw truth of our era, an unapologetic hunger for fame, wealth, and status, with no pretense of passion. Perhaps what she lost wasn't just the podcast, but the sense that she still controlled anything. Building a reputation is arduous, but destroying it is easy and swift. Bobbi Althoff did it to herself and bore the consequences. From a unique persona that built an empire to a silence that marked its end, the audience that once idolized her safe distinctiveness began to feel betrayed. They questioned, was it all just a performance, a covert PR campaign? Did we fall for a manufactured icon only for it to vanish like an expired product? Genuine creators, those without gimmicks or eccentricity, were drowned out in the storm of trends. They were pressured to be weirder, more awkward, just to get noticed. A distorted race for uniqueness began to spread. Bobbi Althoff went from a symbol of innovation to a costly lesson in fleeting fame and personal accountability to the community. She once made the internet laugh with her silence. But in the end, that same silence led everyone to question who she was from the start. If she returns, but not as before, would audiences accept a normalized Bobbi, a new format, a warmer, deeper, more humane version? Perhaps. But would they still embrace a Bobbi who's detached, or have the viewers themselves trapped her in an image she can't escape? Behind the spotlight, Bobbi Althoff's story is a costly lesson. She wasn't just a viral sensation, she was a vivid example of the shifting power dynamics in the modern world, where a suburban mom with an unconventional style could outshine major stars simply through deliberate indifference. She didn't try to be likable or cater to anyone, yet that very approach drew millions and dot. Her success came swiftly, like a miracle, a straw fire that blazes fiercely but rarely lasts. The issue wasn't Bobbi's uniqueness, but whether there was a strong enough ecosystem behind her persona to weather the storms of media scrutiny. When all eyes turned to her, when money and power came knocking, when foundations weren't reinforced and strategies weren't prepared, collapse became inevitable. Bobbi vanished, suddenly, mysteriously. Some felt regret, others betrayed, saying, "I knew it, just another fleeting phenomenon." Whatever the reason, she left a deep crack in the public's trust in viral content. If you had to choose, would you want quick fame or lasting success over time? Leave a comment below, because your perspective might help others understand the media game and uncover its deepest value.